Hey everyone! If you manage a server environment, you are all too familiar with the headache of trying to bridge your on-prem world with the cloud. Well, today we're diving into how Windows Server 2025 is tackling that exact problem head-on. And I'm telling you, this isn't just another update, it's a whole new way of thinking about your infrastructure.
So let's just start with the biggest question of all. Is your on-prem Active Directory, the thing we've all leaned on for literally decades, is it actually ready for the cloud? Or is it holding you back? It's a really important question, because the old way of doing things is definitely starting to show its age.
For years and years, Active Directory has been the absolute king of on-prem identity. It's powerful, it's reliable, we all know that. But it was built for a world that, frankly, is disappearing fast. And that's exactly where the problems start to creep in. And this side? This nails the daily headaches, right? You're juggling two totally separate management systems, one for on-prem, one for the cloud. You're basically chained to these physical domain controllers that need a direct line of sight to work. And you're constantly trying to patch security holes in a system that was never, ever designed for the kinds of threats we see today. Then you throw in a work-from-anywhere model, and the whole thing just groans under the strain. Yeah, but here's the thing. The cloud changes the entire game. We can't just keep stretching our old infrastructure hoping it'll fit. This massive shift to the cloud demands a brand new approach to identity, one that's designed from the ground up for a hybrid world. And that new approach, well, that's exactly what Windows Server 2025 is bringing to the table. It's a really strategic cloud-first shift that deeply integrates with Microsoft Entra ID, what we all used to call Azure AD, to completely rethink how we manage identity. So what do we actually mean when we say cloud first? Look, it's not about throwing out all your on-prem servers tomorrow. It's a strategy. The goal is to slowly, methodically reduce how much you depend on that old AD infrastructure, which makes your whole environment more flexible and, this is the big one, way more secure.
Okay, so what's in the box? What does this new cloud-first world actually give you? Let's break down the new toolkit you get, which is all powered by this super tight integration with Entra ID.
We're going to look at 4 real game changers here. A totally new way to authenticate without needing to see a domain controller, a unified way to manage all your servers with Azure Arc, some seriously powerful security upgrades with passkeys, and finally, using the power of AI to protect your identities. First up, cloud-only authentication. And let me tell you, this is a huge deal. Just imagine your Azure Virtual Desktop users or even servers accessing Azure file shares without ever needing a direct connection to an on-prem domain controller. It literally cuts a cord that has tied us to on-prem hardware for decades. This just makes life so much simpler for remote and cloud resources. I mean, the difference here is just night and day. On the left, you've got the old way. Your remote user needs a slow, clunky VPN just to talk to a physical box sitting in an office somewhere. But on the right, the new way. They authenticate directly and securely against Entra ID, right in the cloud. It's cleaner, it's faster, and it's built for how we actually work today. So if you can authenticate from anywhere, the next logical question is, can you manage from anywhere, right? How do you handle all your servers, both on-prem and in the cloud, without pulling your hair out? Well, the answer to that is Azure Arc. And the process is actually pretty straightforward. First, you onboard your on-prem server 2025 into Azure Arc. And from that moment on, you can manage it, you can secure it right from the Azure portal, sitting right alongside all your cloud stuff. That means one set of security policies, one place to manage everything. That is a massive win for efficiency.
Okay, let's talk about the big one, security. Because this is where that deep integration with Entra ID really shines. We are finally moving beyond just passwords and into a world of truly phishing-resistant security.
The key here is that it's not just one feature, it's a whole suite of modern protections. You get much better support for passkeys, which means passwordless login, awesome. And we hear that later in 2025, you'll even be able to set group-based policies for them. You also get Entra's AI protecting you, flagging risky sign-ins, and the amazing power of conditional access to just block threats in real time based on risk. This all sounds great, I know, but how do you actually get your hands on all these advanced features? Well, it's not about which version of Windows Server you buy. It's all unlocked through your Entra ID licensing. And yeah, this is the practical question on everyone's mind. You've got the server, but what do you need to do to actually turn on all this powerful new stuff? Well, the answer is in Entra ID's licensing tiers. So here's the breakdown.
The free version of Entra ID, which, comes with most Microsoft 365 subscriptions, that gets you the basics. But if you want the really powerful security tools, we're talking conditional access, AI threat detection, and the advanced passwordless stuff, you're going to need an Entra ID P1 or P2 license for that.
So, as we start to wrap this up, what is the single most important thing to take away from this whole shift? What does this all mean for the future of your server infrastructure?
It all comes down to this one core idea, taken right from the source material itself. This is about reducing dependency on legacy AD while maintaining enterprise security. It's a journey, right? Not just flipping a switch. And Windows Server 2025 is basically your roadmap for that journey. So what does this mean for you? Well, it means less complexity and a lot more control, because you can manage everything from one single place. It means genuinely stronger security that can actually stand up to modern threats. And maybe most importantly, it gives you the flexibility to build an infrastructure that isn't anchored to the past, but is ready for whatever comes next. Which leaves us with one last big question. Looking at your own environment and seeing these new tools, is your organization ready to start cutting the cord to legacy Active Directory? The future is here,